My name is Sharon. I'm the language programs coordinator at Passport Global Consultants. You're welcome to this meeting. We'd like to address all the questions that you have. That's why we have the webinar. And today we are going to cover the different pathways that are there for the Germany program, or rather the different ways you can relocate to Germany. And we have a guest speaker who will be joining us shortly, who will be telling us more about life in Germany. He's already there. So feel free to ask any questions. You can be typing them as we go on. In attendance is my colleague who will introduce herself. She's our marketing officer, so she will start off with the presentation as we wait for the guest speaker. Thank you and welcome. Feel free to ask any questions as we go on.
Hello, everyone. I also take this chance to apologize for the inconveniences caused. I hope everyone can hear me now. Yeah. Hopefully you can. So my name is Emma. I am the marketer at Passport Global Consultants. And just as my colleague has said, we are going to be talking about the different pathways to Germany. And I will be talking about one pathway that is Ausbildung, or in other terms, apprenticing. And I'll start by explaining what Ausbildung is. So this is ideally the system that allows students from all over the world to work in Germany as apprentices or participate in vocational training. I hope I'm audible enough. Please let me know. Just make sure I'm audible enough, okay? Great, thank you. We continue. So there are two types of Ausbildung programs, and the first one is school-based. So I will talk just a little bit about school-based program. And this is a type of training where students are taught theoretical vocational training or other fundamental concepts in school. And for the school-based, you're ideally in school for the whole time, for the whole period that you're supposed to be learning. And this period is between 2.5 years to 5 years. For the school-based, you are free to choose whether you'd want to study in a private school or in a public school. So if you choose a public school, then you have to be aware that, if you choose a private school, you have to know that private schools do not offer sponsorship programs. So that means you have to cover your own tuition fee for the whole time that you will be in school, okay? If you opt for public schools, then you will be lucky to be sponsored for a period of time that you'll be in school, or probably the entire time that you will be in school. And most of the courses that they teach in these schools are nursing courses, banking, sales, treatment and healthcare, IT assistance, and etc. But for Ausbildung, most trained trainees are in the medical field, and to be more precise, the nursing field, okay? The next type of Ausbildung or apprentice is dual study. I don't know whether you got me when I explained the term Ausbildung or apprentice. It is ideally working under someone, learning what they do, okay? So for the dual study, this is a training where combines both theoretical training in a vocational school and practical training at a company, meaning you're studying and at the same time you're working. And in this case, companies cover the fee for the vocational training for all trainees. And the study period for the dual study is 2 to 3 years. And during this time you are paid. So the time that you're apprenticing in the company, you're getting some stipend, and also you get payment after the training. And this payment is usually different depending on what career path you've chosen. So for example, if you're a nurse, you wouldn't be paid the same way an IT assistant would be paid. So different fields pay differently, but the general range is usually from 2,000 euros to around 3,800 euros. That is in Kenya shillings, 300,000 Kenya shillings to around 500,000 Kenya shillings. Yeah. And one of the best paid programs, again, it's ideally, as I had mentioned, the ones that they offer in school, that is IT specialists, aircraft controllers, salesmen, nurses, bank employees, police officers, ship mechanics, and electronic technicians. I do hope we're we're together up to that. So I'll move on to the requirements that are needed for you to immigrate to Germany. And the first thing, or rather the first requirement that you needed to have is the visa. And this visa is required for non-European citizens alone. So if you're a Kenyan like me, if you're from Zambia, South Africa, ideally if you're not from any of the European countries, you need to apply for a visa. And then the next requirement is a German language certificate, at least a B1, but other programs require B2. At Passport Global Consultants, we are training the German language up to B2. Yeah, I will be sharing our charges on the wall after my presentation. Yeah, I will be. And then you're also required to have a CV, and this CV must be written in German language unless there are exceptions. And the CV should include, of course, your personal information. That includes your name, date of birth, your citizenship, passport size photo, education, work experience, etc. Okay. You're also required to have a cover letter, and this cover letter should be half a page, preferably 3 to 4 paragraphs, or 250 to 400 words in total. And you're supposed to include how you learned of the company that you're sending your application to, and why you want to work there, and just a few other details. Okay, so that is almost all. The other requirement is that is needed is your school leaving certificate. Your school leaving certificate, which you also needed to translate it to German language. You also needed to have your secondary school diploma or secondary school certificate for the non-skilled personnel. Then the last requirement, or rather second last requirement, is a proof of funds. At least prove to your employers that you're in a position to support yourself. At least have 850 euros in your bank account. 850 euros is equivalent to around 120,000 Kenya shillings. And lastly, you need to have a valid passport to go about your visa processing. Yeah, so that is all about the Ausbildung program. Unless you have any question, I will be ready to answer. You can just keep typing in on the wall as I have my colleague step in with the next pathway. Thank you.
So the next one, I hope I'm clear. So the next one is au pair. So there are different pathways in which you can relocate to Germany with using. So the first one you've been told is Ausbildung. The next one is au pairing. The other one is volunteer. And nursing is a pathway on its own. So let me talk about au pair. So for au pair, this is where you go live with a host family in Germany. So it's a nice opportunity, but for this one, the requirement is there is a restriction when it comes to age. So for au pair, you have to be between 18 to 26 years old. You have to have German level up to B1. You have to have a passport and an invitation letter or a contract from the host family. So those are the requirements if you're relocating to Germany as an au pair. So for au pair, mostly um, your responsibilities will be childcare duties, taking care of the kids. So for if you're going as an au pair to Germany, your host family will have kids. So you'll basically be taking care of the kids, but still at the same time, you're getting paid. So you're not taking care of the kids at for free. So you're getting paid, and then your duties will be maybe helping the kids with homework. So the good thing when it comes to au pair is, or rather au pairing, is you're able to move to relocate to Germany and start your life. So for au pair, you will have 6 to 12 months contracts. So you will not be an au pair the whole time you're in Germany. Kindly make sure your speakers are muted. So you're not gonna be an au pair the whole time you will be in Germany. So once you relocate, you can now start looking for a job. After your contract expires, you now land another job. So it doesn't mean that once you go there as an au pair, you will live in Germany entirely as an au pair. No, it doesn't. So once your contract is the time limit for your contract is up, you can now look for another job and start working there now as a different using in a different place. So the other thing is nursing. So if you're a nurse, you have an added advantage because the only thing that you need is B1 level. So for B2, you're going to do it in Germany. So what you need is B1 level for you to now start your process. Once you have your B1 certificate, and remember in the first webinar we said you can get the certificate from by doing the exams at Goethe, or you can do the exam at another institution called OSD. So if you have your B1 certificate, it gets very easy because you just need now to start processing. We'll now start job applications for you. We do international CV, by the way. So that's another thing that we offer at Passcode. So if we'll just we'll just do a CV for you, and then I will start job applications. So it becomes very easy for you as a nurse. If you're a nurse and you're here, make use of these opportunities. Remember, we talked about the payments in our first webinar. We are going to share the payments, the taxes, the links for the taxes and the payments on our WhatsApp group. So if you're not in our WhatsApp group, we will share a link so that you can join. And then each module takes 2 to 3 months. So by the time the 2 to 3 months are done, you will be you will have done A1 level. So another 2 months for A2 level and another 2 months for B1 level. So once you're done with that, you're sure that we can now start your relocating process in whichever pathway that you're going to use, whether you're a nurse, whether you're going as an au pair, or whether you're going as an Ausbildung. So for volunteer, another pathway, this is where you have volunteer experience in your country, whichever country you're in. So for volunteer, you're just going to apply for, maybe you are going to volunteer to work in a hospital as a caregiver. You're going to volunteer working in an IT department. You're going to volunteer working in a certain place. So for volunteer, you do not have to have any specifications. If you were here, if you, for example, in Kenya, you all know of something called, kindly make sure your speakers are muted. So like for Kenya, because I'm in Kenya, so I'll use Kenya as the best example. So for Kenya, we have something called Red Cross, or the other one, what's the name of the other one? St. John's Ambulance. So if you if you are a volunteer in either Red Cross as a caregiver, or you volunteer your services maybe when there is something, so you always get a certificate, right? So that is the certificate that you're going to use now when it comes to applying for volunteering jobs in Germany. So you're going to attach that you're going to attach that as one of the documents that you have. So that's basically what happens when it comes to volunteering. So you can volunteer to work in a hospital if you have the experience. You can volunteer to work in a, maybe in an engineering setup if you have the experience, and so on. So when it comes to volunteering, these are unpaid internships that people do that can also work as a proof that you have the experience needed. So whatever document you have that can help in this process, please submit them to us. And I will emphasize, before you start this process, for those who are not in our first webinar, kindly make sure that your documents have the same names. Your school certificates, your birth certificates, your ID, make sure they have the same name. A question here. If you're married, of course, your name will change for those who change their name when they get married. So if you have a marriage certificate, then that's okay. So you will not need to have, you will not get problems now when it comes to relocating. But apart from that, make sure that all your documents have the same names for easy processing of your relocation. Yes, so now it's time for questions. If you want to ask a question, you can unmute yourself, then you ask the question.
Starting salary and nurse after reduction.
Hello, good evening from Nigeria.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm George by name. Before I go into my question, I just have to thank your team very much for the explanation that you've given as per to Germany, because most people don't know these things. If you don't know it, you don't know where to start from. So from this explanation that you've given to us, at least we're happy that we know the basis now. So my first question, because I'm a trained emergency nurse from Nigeria, like most of the countries that we do see on net and other places, when they are talking about sponsorship, because the major thing that most people do or do to migrate is getting sponsorship from any agency so that one can go freely. Sponsorship in terms of processing of document, sponsorship in terms of flight, and sponsorship in terms of providing job for these persons. So that is why I'm asking, are you people, uh, are you people, can you people able to sponsor or link up with people or agency that can do this sponsorship for one to be able to get to Germany? Thank you, ma.
Okay, George, thank you for the positive feedback. Willkommen, that means welcome in German.
Okay, yeah, I'm started. Well, I have to start speaking now so I can get my B1.
Yeah. You need to start classes with us.
Yes.
So for sponsorship, we do not have that. Apparently, we are a self-sponsored organization. So I will not lie to any of you. We do not have sponsorships. What happens is, before you sign your job contract, if you're a nurse, we will look at the different the different facilities available and inquire from them if they are going to pay for you, if they are going to sponsor your program at any point. So if they are gonna pay for your flight, if they are gonna pay for your accommodation, so that is now what we look at before you sign your contract. We have to look at your contract and look at all the pros and cons before you submit it and make a commitment that you might come to regret later.
Okay, that is good. That is good. That is good. Then concerning the school, ma, the school, you said most of the school, like the public school, they have maybe partial sponsorship or full sponsorship by way of tutor fee and stuff like that. Are you with me, ma?
Sorry, I lost you.
Okay, ma. Have you found me now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma. So concerning the school area that you talked about, the public and the private school, you said the
Hello. Hello.
There's nothing like they have like what? Hello.
Yes, you are breaking.
Like, okay, sorry, maybe it's my network from Nigeria. Like what level of sponsorship do they offer by way of a tuition fee so that one can know how to prepare for it?
So if you're going there as an Ausbildung, or if you're going there to study, your program is fully paid for. This is because Germany is looking for a lot of workforce. So you are not gonna pay anything. They are going to train you to be their workforce.
Okay.
So it's purely paid for.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question before now I hand over to
question?
Yes, Felix.
Yes, my question is in terms of documents, I have a birth certificate that has a different name from other documents, but the other documents are the same. Like I have a birth certificate that from the time I was starting my studies, I omitted one name. So can it have a problem?
Yes, it will. So what you do is you can get an affidavit or you have your document changed.
Or I have an affidavit or document changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So any other question?
Hello. Hello, guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Ich heiße Rose Choge. Ich komme aus Kenia.
Ja.
Ich habe eine Frage.
Mhm.
Ich habe Deutsch gelernt beim AGE Institute und ich möchte mit Passport Consultant lernen. Ich habe A2 gelernt und ich möchte B1 lernen mit Sie. Und könnten Sie bitte helfen?
Can I just cut you short?
Yeah.
Yeah, just let me cut you short. Because we are from different countries and we speak different
Yeah.
languages, and in as much as
Yeah.
this webinar is all about German language, would you mind just translating that to English so that everyone can understand your question, whether it's a question or a comment? We would understand that, but it will be very unfair for the rest
Yeah,
of the
sure.
attendees.
I get you. I get you.
Yes, kindly.
Yeah. My name's Rose Choge. I come from
Yes.
Kenya, and
Okay, Rose.
I've learned A2. I've learned German, Deutsch, up to A2 level, and I would like to join new people through the online class so that I can learn the B1, B1, and I wanted your help. How can I go through it? Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So what you need to do is you do not need to have any requirement to start off the German language classes. I will only, or rather will only need to share with you our payment details. Whether you're ready at the moment, just make payments and then wait for the November intake, which is on 11th. It's on a Monday. That is when the classes will begin. Just come again. You said you've studied up to A2.
Yeah, up to B1 Lection Act, but it will be fine if I'll start afresh.
Or you'd want to start afresh from A1 or from
A2? I would want to start afresh from B1 afresh. I'd started B1,
B1
up to Election Act. Yeah, up to Election Act, but I see it nice if I start it afresh.
Okay, so for B1,
if I start it from the B1, yeah.
Oh, okay. So for B1, you do not need to wait for the November intake, because for the November intake is ideally for the A1 or other new students. But for B1, you can always join immediately. But let me just have our languages coordinator clarify, or rather just correct me if I'm wrong. I think she's in the best position to answer that.
Thank you. I'll be so grateful. Thank you.
So Rose, your Deutsch is nice. For those who didn't understand, she was basically introducing herself, and she said she has a question and she's learned B1 up to lesson 8. So what happens now, since you want to go to B1, we will do a test for you. So if you are not starting the program from A1 with us, if you're going to A2, we'll give you an A1 exam. If you pass, you proceed to A2. We do not want to have people fail. So if you are going to B1, what happens is we are going to give you an A1 exam before now you proceed to A2, through B1, sorry. If you fail the exam, you cannot continue, unfortunately. If you pass, you're going to proceed. So that's what happens. So it depends on how soon you want to start the classes, but you can just make your payments, start your class as early as now, or you can wait for the 11th November intake. So everyone, our next intake will be on November 11th. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Remember, we said sharing is caring. So do not be mean with this information. Just share it with your friends. Even whatever you're learning here, we are going to upload the recording on our social media websites. Please share it with anyone who you think this information might be necessary to. So I'll now hand over to our guest, Lera Jonathan, who's joined us. He's going to talk to us about, he's one of the passcode team, but in Germany. So he's going to talk to us about life in Germany, and feel free to ask him any questions that you might have.
Okay, so danke schön for that chance, Sharon.
Willkommen.
So, for those who don't know me yet, I'm Jonathan Onyango, currently in Germany, but part-time Deutsch Lehrer. I've been teaching Deutsch here in Pascod now, I think, around a year. So, here about the life in Germany, generally the life in Germany is good in terms of everything that you want to access. The life is good. So it's only that you need to fit in the system always. As a person, you need first to fit in the system. And what will make you fit in the system is the language. If you don't understand the language, it's very difficult to communicate because Germans, a very few percentage, they know English. So it is very difficult now without the language here to communicate. Even when you are in the train station, the train will change from where they should be boarded, and that will be spoken in Deutsch. They'll say the train was about to leave this station. I think those who have done A1 exams, there is here and part of that one for train stations, Verspätung. So the language is the basic. So when you are good in the language, good with the flow, you will always have it right that the life here is good. Then second thing is, don't be afraid with your expression, because the Germans, they don't criticize anyone's language. Even when you speak the broken one, they'll try and appreciate, yeah, du sprichst gut Deutsch. They'll tell you, you speak good German. So always they will help you also to learn the language. So when you are trying to give it your best, don't have that fear that I might be wrong. When I get to Germany, people will be laughing to my accent. People will be laughing to what I'm saying. Then you don't have to fear anything with how you will speak the language. What you must do is make sure you understand the language better. You can express yourself in that language. So the most important thing that I've started with is the language. That one will make you fit in the system very perfectly. Then also, still on the language, that is always where people find it difficult, because it is very difficult sometimes to learn the language, but you just have to try. So first thing is, for the language, you must set time for it, very adequate time. From the first day that you started learning the language up to the last day that you will acquire the last certificate that you want, you won't stop reading this language. So it's like every day you have at least 2 hours just for the language. If you have a lesson that is outside that lesson that you do, you must have also 2 hours that you make sure you read something constructive. Not just it's a must you consume, you read many things. No, just read even 2 words that you can understand and you can remember them even up to the end of the week, and you can use them well. With that, slowly by slowly, you will learn the language, and it is very simple in A1 up to B1. From B2 is a little bit, we say complex, but when you do B2 now, the C1 is not difficult. So that is it. So it's like in the lower levels, it is A1 that is always difficult. So if you overcome the fear in A1, you will do good in B1. So if you overcome the fear in B2, you do well in C1. So with the language, just practice and give it time. Then I saw a certain question here. If you get direct hire, the employer will sort everything. No, there are some things that the employer will not sort. The employer will tell you, on our side, we provide the contract. That is the first thing. They will provide all documents that should be written from their side that the embassy requires. But anything to do with financial, like booking your flight, looking for insurance, paying the embassy fee, that is on your side. That one the employer does not cater for. So you have to get prepared also financially to pay the air ticket. And you know that time is a little bit high because you book it not earlier. That one you have to book immediately as you receive the visa. Then those visa charges, those ones you have to take care for. The employer will only provide contract. And if some are also lenient, some provide even accommodation. But others will tell you, we can give you the workplace, we can give you this, but we can't find you accommodation. So it is upon you to liaise with people who can find your accommodation. And that is it. So in Germany, you can work overtime. So there are days like Sunday and holidays. So on Sunday or holiday, if you go to work, that is now like overtime, full day. But there is no overtime in hours that you are supposed to be done by 6 p.m. Then you are told extend up to 8. That is not included. The one that is included is when you work on Sundays, you will get double pay. If you are paid like 30 euros in a day, if you work on Sunday, that one on Sunday, you get 60 that day. So for Sunday and holiday, it's double. So overtime, maybe you can look for some part-time jobs. They call them mini jobs. If you can look for mini jobs, then you can find some, and they're there. How long will it take for one to go to Germany after passing B1 and after signing a contract with the employer? So that one will depend with the visa. The visa dictates everything. There are some people who are lucky enough to receive visa after 1 week, but others will take even 4 months. So the visa will dictate everything. So after you've signed the contract, you have all the documents you presented to the embassy. Now wait for the visa. So if the visa comes earlier, that's good on your side. So the visa will dictate everything, Rose, for you to move quickly. Any question on the language and anything you want to know? Air ticket depends, but at most it can be, air ticket at most can be around 600 euros. 600 euros. Yeah, that's around 70 something to 80,000 something thousand Kenyan shilling. For nurses, is there any age limit? For nurses, the age limit I think is around 43. 43, yeah. And then is it possible to want to learn online and pass? Yeah, that is possible, Lydia, when you are dedicated. I have a friend who learned from A1 to B1 in YouTube. The other week I was with him. He's just here in Germany. He also came. Did from A1 up to B1 through YouTube and went and did go to exam. but failed only the hearing part. He later on went and did the exam for hearing and passed again. Then, does the certificates have expiry date? Example B1. So Rose, the B1 certificate, if you Google or if you check about it, they say it doesn't expire. But the German embassy requires a certificate that is not 6 months old. Meaning for B1, it is a disadvantage for you. But for B2, even if you take it, if it is 6 months old, you won't be questioned. But for B1, if you take a B1 certificate that is 6 months old, more than 6 months old, they are likely to disturb you. So what you should do is at least also you've been registered to a language school and you can produce a certificate that you are ongoing with your B2 class. So they don't expect that when you did B1 6 months ago, you've stopped learning the language. Then when you want to go to Germany, you say you want to go and improve the language while you stopped learning it. So that is why they question the B1 certificate. But for B2, no problem with it. So Matilda is asking how many have so far traveled. So I think there are 3 people already nurses.
Yeah. And one engineer.
Yeah. Then is life in Germany expensive? Life is, how life is expensive for me. Life can be cheap for me, can be expensive to other person, depending on how you carry on yourself. But generally, I'll say life is not expensive. It is only expensive in terms of accommodation. The houses are expensive here, but food is the cheapest. It's the cheapest here. You can have a shopping for a whole month with just 50 euros. With food, it's very cheap. But housing and the bills you have to pay here, Germany, we even pay for radios and we don't listen to them. You pay for televisions, but you don't watch them. But they also pay a sustainable salary that they see if you've been deducted these ones, you can remain with money that can sustain you. That is what they make sure that they do. Then after how long do one get citizenship? That is, citizenship you will get after 3 years. That is if you've finished Ausbildung. Let me say you finished Ausbildung. That one means you must take 3 years doing Ausbildung, then finish it. After finishing it, then take another 3 years and you must have a C1 certificate. Then you'll get the dual certificate. So roughly it is 6 years. Driving is not a must, but driving here is an added advantage. Though the Germans don't recognize the Kenyan license. So you'll have to come here and after 6 months acquire a German license. But driving here is the most expensive thing. And when you have driving, even when you are a nurse, you can get an hospital that will give you even a car, because driving is a very good skill when you have it here. What's the starting salary for nurses? So nurses with the B1 certificate, when you come as a nurse with a B1 certificate, you will start with a salary of, I think, 2,500 euros. When deducted, I think you can remain with 2,200 euros. But after you've done recognition to your papers, that is, after you have done a B2 exam and also done recognition to your papers, you can start earning 3,500 onwards. So I'm not sure on it, but it is 3,500 onwards after paper recognitions. And here in Germany, you don't work much. You will only work 20 days in a month, if it's many, or even 19. If there are holidays, even 18. So 18 days in a month. So is there an holiday or one can break to visit home? Yeah. So you always plan for your holidays. Like, let me say for next year, your contract will state you have how many days for holiday. And that is only working days, not weekends are not counted. So when you have 30 days in a year, so you select, you can even take those 30 days once. If you are doing house building, you cannot take that holiday when you are in school. So only when you are not in school, you will be in the practical place. That is when you can take your holiday. So if you decide to take this whole 6 weeks and go home, no problem. So there are specific 30 days for holidays. There are some people have 33, some people 28. It depends with the company that you are working for. Yeah, when you are on holiday, you are being paid. When you are on holiday, Lydia, you will be paid. Your salary will be as usual. Any question? So with the documents that you will require if you are applying for house building, you will require B2 certificate. It's good to come here with B2. If you come with B1, you can get into that house building class and even would like to run. But with the B2, you will feel much confident. So German B2 certificate. Then apart from that, you need Form 4 certificate and a living certificate. Then if you have a university also, that is added advantage. But the least education level is Form 4 certificate with the D+ and above. And E, I think they don't always consider, but D+ and above, that one they consider for house building. And you need your passport. So Felix, the question you ask, if your passport, you have a passport, I think there is nowhere they will ask you of your birth certificate where you are providing documents. Documents that you will take to the embassy, I don't think if there is birth certificate. So there is no birth certificate. But when your passport is correct, then you will use it. When it is correct with the certificates of Form 4 and any other tertiary education that you did, then it will not have a problem. But if the certificates also differ, then you must get the affidavit from NEC, like from Mtihani House, like Sharon said. So can a nurse work and study at the same time? You study for, maybe if you study online, but I don't think you can work and study because you'll need time to work. And school is also during daytime. And also you might find the school is not near with a place of work. Here with commuting, it can be very difficult. So you choose one at a time. How much does one need to process migration to Germany? So Felix, to process migration, now you need money for flight. You need money for, there is what embassy requires that is called incoming health insurance. That incoming health insurance, they can even ask you for 1 year, insurance of 1 year. That is around 400 euros again. So that is already 1,000 euros. Then you need 100 euros. That is embassy fee. And around 45 euros That is the fee for booking appointment. So with that, it is around 1,200 euros. If you want to move by yourself, that is by Ausbildung. Because the employers, they will only provide the contracts from work and any other document that can be required, but some are lenient to provide housing. So you can also get accommodation from some employers, but it is not guaranteed. So always you have to prepare yourself well. So you can explore many options. To come here, you have to explore many options. But for nurses, I think it's the simplest. It's easy. As a nurse, just get B1. The nurses are here. Here they are on demand. But when you come here with that B1, you will start like a nursing assistant. You won't resume your profession as a nurse immediately. When you do injections, you won't come and start with the injections. So you'll start like a nursing assistant. So when you finish B2 and do recognition of certificates, that can take you around 6 months. Then you'll be recognized as a full nurse and your salary now will increase. When you do C1, your salary also will increase. Any further question? Any questions still? Okay, so I think there's no other question. So as you work on the goal, remember the language is the key. So work on the language. The higher you ask.
In terms of the language, yeah? If you do an exam, and maybe we talked of exam is in terms of speaking, writing, listening, and listening. So in case you fail any one of them, do you repeat everything or you only repeat the part you failed?
You only repeat the one you failed.
Okay.
Yeah. So for those ones who cannot also undertake exam, it's better you always start with it early. So you prepare per module. You can say, I want to start with the writing. That is allowed. Even when you want to do those exams, one every month, it is allowed. It's not a must you do them on the same day. You can just go online and book that one for writing alone, go and do it. So the exam is how you prepare for it. Then you will pass it. That is the main important thing. With the same amount? No, you only, if the whole exam is 24,000, you divide 24,000 by 4, you get 6,000 per module. So if you fail one, you pay 6,000. So if you fail one, you pay 6,000. Any question? Any question? Okay, so I think everyone is okay. After each module, there is an exam. Like here, after we have completed every module, there is a test that must be done so as to see if you understand the knowledge of the level that you have just done. But the certificate that is recognized by the German embassy is either Goethe certificate or certificate from OSD. Okay, nice. Any other question? Okay, so I'll hand back to Sharon to continue chairing the session. Sharon?
Vielen Dank, Lehrer Jonathan.
Okay, bitte schön.
So I think you had everything that was required of you. The only thing that is keeping you in your country, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in Zambia, whether you're in Kenya, whether you're in Uganda, is the language. So, and that is where we as Passcode Global Consultants come in. So each module is $25. The next intake will be on 11th November. So do your payments as early as possible for you to start the classes. If there is no other question, then we are going to end the session. But feel free to reach out to us through our WhatsApp groups, social media. We are on all social media platforms, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, and yeah. So feel free to reach out to us. You can check us on Google. Yes. So feel free. And let me just give my colleague a moment. But from my side, thank you all for attending the webinar, and we're looking forward to working with you. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you too from my end. And having nothing else to say or no more question to answer, let's just unmute and tell each other good night as we leave the meeting.
Good night.
Gute Nacht.
Gute Nacht.
Hello.
Hi.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Danke.
We are looking forward to having you in our next webinar.
Dankeschön.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Dankeschön.